Well, again, good morning to you, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm here with a very special friend of mine. I've known this mighty man for a very long time, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Can you tell everybody who you are?
My name is Roosevelt Anderson Jr.
You're a junior. Oh, well,
Junior.
Junior.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you did well. He did well doing you.
Yes, Pops did.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm very excited to chat with you, and it's been a long time since I've seen you. It's been quite a while. I think the last time I seen you was at your father's going home. You know, and that was a sad time. But praise God, you're here, and you've got a lot to say, and I'm excited to say. And if you look at your background there, we see this mighty man and playing tennis. But he's going to tell us a lot about the. Would you tell us, RJ, everything about you, everything we were afraid to know, what your schooling, and then just go right on to the military?
Okay, started off born and raised in on the south side of Chicago from Juanita and Roosevelt Anderson, senior. Went to school at Evangelical Christian School. It was awesome. It's good to be able to be in a school that's faith-based. So it was really good to be able to go from preschool to eighth grade, having classes that were catered around learning and understanding the Bible. From there, I attended Luther High School South. It's a Lutheran school on 87 Kazi. I had a great time for as much as a high schooler can have. But on from there, I ended up attending Grand Valley University, Grand Valley State University, where I studied business and electrical engineering. From there, the decision was to, like every other college student, you change your majors. You decide that you want to do something different. You know, you have all this knowledge, and you say, "Hey, I wanted personally to be a pilot." That was my focus. After learning all this information about electronics and coding, I really wanted to go to be a pilot. And with that, of course, being a pilot is expensive.
Minor detail.
Going to school to be a pilot is expensive. And after attending school for a few years, I felt the best option was to go to the military. You know, my dad was drafted into the military, and I remember always seeing his military uniform in the front closet. And little did he know, I always tried it on, and I looked pretty good at it. I thought I looked pretty good at it, you know. But you know, I really felt at that point that I was meant to be a soldier. You know, my dad, we were born and raised in a very structural household, you know, and I really account that to my dad being a soldier. But I found that was something I enjoyed, you know. So I decided to go into the military in 2008. And the job that I did in the military was aircraft mechanic. I was a helicopter aircraft mechanic. Enjoyed that so much. That was honestly my favorite job that I've ever had. Being able to go to work every day and basically solve a puzzle. You know, you go to work and you see it's 3 aircrafts in the hangar, and okay, which one are they going to put me on? You know, what's wrong with it? You know, so it was a lot of actually excitement, you know, going to work every day.
Not many people can say that about the military.
Yeah, I loved it. And because of working on them, you know, like I said, I wanted to be a pilot. You know, that was the focus was I want to understand how it flies, and then I believe I'll be the best pilot. You know, so that was kind of my focus on why and my reasons for going to the military.
Now, but as we talked earlier, you were sharing that you wanted to progress and you wanted to go into a different area, flying the plane, but jumping out of them.
So, one of the schools that I really wanted before even going into the military was to get my airborne certification. I thought those, reading in history, about the soldiers that were trained to jump into enemy territory. I thought that was a pretty brave thing to do, you know. So, you know, for some reason, that was something I always wanted to. That was a accomplishment that I always wanted in the military, and unfortunately, you know, due to a vehicle accident, I wasn't able to do that. But the
For
great,
those who
okay,
do not know you, you want to say a little bit about that?
absolutely. I am in a wheelchair right now. 2012, November 4th, 2012, I was in a motorcycle accident in which I survived and endured a spinal cord injury at the T4 level, and which left me paralyzed. Um,
You did say that you had a piece of paper in your hand, or had orders while you were going to it. You had
yes,
some orders.
yes. The one thing that was interesting about that weekend of that injury, I had orders to go to airborne that next week. So that's what made everything a little bittersweet. But the great thing about it is, after the fact, He gave me the opportunity to jump out of an aircraft. And after this year, I've jumped 3 times. So, and all from 15,000 feet or more. So that was way better than I would have done in the military, you know. So it's been a blessing. It's amazing how God will still give you the desires of your heart.
Now you were saying though, because of this, you felt you moved out. You kept pushing forward into some of the things that you wanted to do. The wheelchair did not stop you.
So, you know, I was very thankful and grateful that when I did have my accident, I had a lot of individuals around me that were very positive and very, they were driven themselves. So I had a few soldiers that are in chairs that visit me in the hospital, and one said, he said, "You can do anything you want to do." He said, "Don't let this chair stop you." He's like, I've done literally everything I've done and more. And I also got a visit by a Paralympian, and she was very, very huge on my progression on what I wanted to do next. You know, she, as an amputee, she had gone to the Paralympics and won medals, and she said, "Don't let anything stop you." So from there, I literally tried every adaptive sports known to man, from bocce to sled hockey to basketball. You know, I'm thankful because God opened doors. I would literally get phone calls that say, "Hey, you want to try sled hockey? Sure. You want to try basketball? I'm there. You want to try this? What is it?" So, I'm really thankful that I was able to meet so many individuals during these activities that help guide me and help me along this path along the 10 years of being in the wheelchair. It just made it a lot easier because they just gave me the cheat codes of things that it took them 10 years to learn. They gave me in a day, and I was able to progress so much faster because of, I believe, just the willingness to attend these events, the willingness to say, yes, I'll come. Not even knowing the outcome and not even knowing what might come from it. I believe that just attending the events helped psychologically and helped just it was God's love saying, "Hey, look, I'm gonna show you what right looks like so that you can follow that path." Because I believe that a lot of times, we get depressed and we get lost and we lose our purpose because we don't have something to look at. You don't have something to mimic. You don't have something, you don't have a vision. And if you don't have a vision, you're on purpose, So going to those events and seeing these other individuals thrive and it showed me that it just brought me closer to my purpose rather.
Now, let's talk about that, because your purpose and thriving and all of these things. What about if there's someone out there who will see this video? What would you say to them? Say they are in a wheelchair, or maybe they've missing limbs. There's a lot of things. What would you say to them? You said a little bit earlier, but what would you say to them?
What would I say to them? I would say finding a closer relationship with Christ. That's what gave me the hope and purpose to be able to do all of this. People say that when you're in a hard and rock, in a hard place, it's easier to find God. And that's kind of true, because you have nothing. You feel as if you need Him to survive. You have to help me. There was a point where I needed help just to move, just to wake up, just to leave the house. And there was a point when I said, God, all I can take is a step. And He said, I'll take the next one for you. I'll take the next step. So, really, in with this is I would tell that person to get in your Bible, see what God says about you. See what God. A lot of times we don't know purpose. We don't understand our purpose because we don't know who we are. And in the Word, it tells you exactly who you are. It tells you how God sees you. And if we can see ourselves how God sees us instead of how the world sees you, I guess, in a sense, or how you even see yourself, because sometimes you don't know. So I would say to that person, the closer relationship you have with God, the closer you know who you are, the more you'll know your purpose, and the easier it is to be on mission.
When you're at these games, I know you played in the Invictus Games.
Yes.
With Prince Harry, world famous now, Prince Harry.
Very, very grateful for that.
Okay, tell us just a little bit about that, how that felt to go into the Invictus Games and then to meet a royal.
Yeah, well, it's crazy how all this happens off of phone calls. I got a phone call to say, hey, do you want to compete in London at the Invictus Games, that Prince Harry's putting on? And I'm just blown away. Of course, yes, I'll be there. But that right there, that event, I believe started the whole push for me. Being on that large stage, competing, and honestly, I wasn't the best athlete there, to be honest.
But you were there.
But the thing is I was grateful that someone saw something in me to invite me there, and just seeing all these individuals in their with their sports that they're doing, just pushing so hard and training so hard, and the awareness that I was surprised at the awareness in London that the people had for adaptive sports. I mentioned to you off camera, that I turned to a television station and saw individuals competing in adaptive track, and wheelchair basketball, and power soccer, and I was just blown away to see the awareness that they had there. And my purpose and my reasons now for doing what I do is also to bring awareness to these individuals myself, and because the goal at the end of the day is to bring that individual that's at home believing that there's nothing left. And if they can see someone on the screen that looks like them, sounds like them, maybe even come from the same neighborhood they came from, and say, wow, if he's doing that, I can do it. And I can do it better even, maybe, So I think it's important. I'm thankful that I was able to go to the Invictus Games, and now, it's given me a purpose to now maybe bring some exposure to adaptive sports. And
that's important to you, isn't it?
Yes, it is, I believe. It's just because of all the the love and how therapeutic it's been for me, you know, and it's you don't in the Army we say leave no man behind, you know, we never leave a man behind. So if I could, if talking about it after sports will bring someone in and bring a sense of quality of life to that individual who feels there's no purpose, I'm down. You know, that's my goal.
Praise God. If you were to get an opportunity, and I'm sure you have a lot of opportunities, to speak to young men and women, because you know, there's young men, there's women who also were in the military and maybe lost, you know, a limb or paralyzed. If you had an opportunity to go into a high school and you'd seen those young people who were in a wheelchair, what would your first thing, or what would you say to them? What would you say? Hey, come let's shoot some balls or something like that. What would you do?
Well, I'm kind of drawn to those individuals, you know, now that I've been in this community. But I mean, since I play wheelchair tennis, I would immediately, you know, invite them to give it a try. You know, I would immediately have friends that run wheelchair basketball clinics. I would.
So there are some wheelchair clinics.
There are organizations in this area. LSWRA, Lincoln Way Recreational Special Recreational Program Association. Sorry, Lincoln Way Special Recreational Association. It's a really good program, and this is all focused on bringing. They go into the high schools, they go into the grammar schools, and they actually pull those individuals in chairs and not only focus that gym session on that person with the chair, they bring everyone, they bring 10, 20 chairs in and put people with able body in chairs so that you're not making that person feel left out. Okay. That's the thing. A lot of people feel left out because they're different. Mm-hmm. And our differences is what make us amazing, you know? And we're, you know, at the end of the day, we're all spiritual, spirit, soul, and body, you know. And right now, we're just renting this body, you know. And just because the individual looks a certain way doesn't mean that that's who they are, you know. So, you know, my purpose is just bringing humanity into the situation, you know, helping, you know, just giving people a perspective of not looking at an individual for what they look like, but for who they are. You know, what fruits do you see? What fruits do you get from that person? You know, so.
And do people, like, I know you have the Facebook page and things like that. Do you have people ever see your photos and different things? Do you ever get someone who wants to be your friend just because maybe they are appreciative of what you're doing? Have you met any people, Facebook friends, or have they gotten Facebook friends because of this?
I have. I've met so many people. From a lot of the posts and a lot of the events I've had that I've been able to bring awesome photographs back, and you know the reason I continue is because of when I do get the opportunity to talk with someone, they say, hey, I saw one of your pictures and it made me really want to try this, or I saw how happy you were doing that, so I gave it a try. And you know, just those few conversations, you know, I'm be honest, I'm not huge on showing the world my life on Facebook, but because of those conversations that I have, that people say, hey, you know, I got into this because I saw you doing it, or I saw you able to do this. That's really my focus on why I do it. You know, it's just I don't want to leave anyone behind. You know, because I understand how you know. Fortunately, I had an amazing support system behind me when I was going through what I was going through. You yourself came to visit me actually in the hospital, so that's what I'm saying. I'm tremendously grateful and thankful for the support system I had around me. But I understand too that's not available for everyone. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if it's just a photo that they see on Facebook or Instagram, that, you know, maybe that's all they have, and then they reach out to you because of it.
Sure.
So, I really, I believe this is my, I'm thankful that God allowed me to live after my accident. And so I feel like I should just be a vessel and just help lead people to and show all the greatness that God's been giving me. The gospel means the good news, right? And I feel like I should share the good news, and that's all the great things that He's been doing for me. Allow me to go to these events and meet these people and meet Prince Harry's and meet generals, and it's just, I'm grateful. I'm tremendously grateful.
I'm grateful too. I'm very grateful for you. What is your future? What did you have another vision that like something that you would like to do?
Well, actually, I got what I'm doing right now. I guess it's on camera. I can let everyone. So I've started a company called Roosevelt Photography, or Roosevelt's Art. That's what the Rose Art comes from. I just really I asked God, when I was in that bed, I said, Lord, use everything you put in me, let it all come out before I leave this earth, and and soon did I know, I started to realize how much I love photography and how much I love creating music and how much I just love creating, period. I do. I guess I did learn a lot of it here as a child, here in King's community. You guys would always have things for us to be creative, allow us activities and materials for us to create things. And I think that was huge, because, it's human. It allows you to just relax, actually, And so what I was getting to is, I've been enjoying photography and starting a clothing apparel line, and just creating content that will allow the world to be able to see these athletes in a different light, adaptive sports athletes in a different light.
And that's through the photography that you want to
That's
do. So you're going to start kind of moving. I'm sure you'll still compete.
Absolutely.
You'll still compete.
Absolutely.
That's in you. You can't get rid of that.
The goal is to go to the Paralympics for something. I'm bring home a medal to Chicago for something.
Woohoo!
Curling, whether it's curling, wheelchair tennis, or competitive shooting, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So that'll always be your heart.
Yes.
To do that and to share that with others, and then your photography on top of that.
Yes.
So that's a wonderful thing. I'm just so blessed that you're considering doing that. That you're going not to consider, you're going to do it.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with those who are here to give them hope and give them a future, as Jeremiah would say?
Well, I know when I was in the Army I was grateful enough to receive my sergeant's my sergeant rank. He told me, and I asked him, I said, how do I lead? How do I lead? And he told me to show him what right looks like. Do the right thing. So I just would tell others, do the right thing when no one's looking. Think about how attack things like God would. Have the mind of Christ, the heart of Christ, and just be human. And love your brethren, help your brethren if he needs help. Just be there. Sometimes, just being there, just so one knows that they have support. It goes a long way. So, if you want something, maybe you should be that. So if you want a good friend, be a good friend. If you want happiness, be happy. Choose to be happy. And find your purpose. Seek God. seek God, and He will show you who you are through His eyes, and you will see then your purpose. So thank you for having me.
Oh, it's
I'm
what a
so
joy
thankful
you
for
are. What a
for this
joy.
invitation.
Thank you for being with us, and I'm just blessed that you shared your life, and it was a very intimate moment, and I'm just so pleased and blessed that you decided to share it with us. And for all of those who want to know a little bit more, look up RJ. He's the coolest. Roosevelt, thank you so very, very much. You are most loved, and I admire you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. God bless.
God bless.